Have you ever stopped to think how strange sleep really is? One moment you're here, aware, grounded, breathing, and the next, everything disappears. The world around you shuts down. Time dissolves. Your body goes silent. But your mind doesn't. It keeps going, traveling, creating, feeling. While you sleep, your consciousness takes you to places that don't exist, introduces you to people you've never met, and throws you into stories so intense that when you wake up, you still feel them. Why? Why does your mind work so hard while your body rests? If sleep was just a biological reset, there'd be no reason for dreams, no visions, no memories that feel real, no déjà vu, no premonitions. And yet, every single night, something mysterious happens. Some say dreams are just random noise. But what if they're not? What if dreams are a doorway, a passage through which your consciousness slips out of this reality? A way to explore unseen layers of time, touch other worlds, or unlock forgotten parts of yourself. What if what you live in dreams is just as real as waking life? This video isn't here to explain everything. It's here to invite you to question what you think you know about sleep, about dreams, and about who you really are when your eyes are closed. If that idea pulls at something inside you, if you've ever felt that there's more going on than anyone can explain, then subscribe and turn on notifications. Because today, we're going to explore the place your mind goes when your body is asleep. For centuries, we've tried to understand what really happens to the human mind when we sleep. Modern science tells us that sleep is essential for the body. It regulates hormones, reorganizes memories, clears toxins. But that doesn't explain why our consciousness seems to escape the body and build entire realities during the night. We're not talking about random images. We're talking about complex scenarios, deep emotions, stories with a beginning, middle, and end. All of it effortlessly created. Have you ever dreamed of a place that felt familiar, even though you know you've never been there? Have you spoken to someone who doesn't exist, yet felt like they understood you more deeply than anyone in the waking world? These dreams don't feel like fiction. They have weight, depth, and often they leave marks, as if they're memories, not of something imagined, but of something lived somewhere else. Why does this happen? Why would the mind invent such vivid experiences if all it needs is rest? Maybe we've been looking at sleep the wrong way. What if sleep isn't a shutdown? What if it's a transmission? Like a radio that, in the silence, starts to pick up hidden frequencies we miss during the day because we're too busy with the noise of reality. What if dreams are signals, clues from consciousness trying to remember something we've forgotten? That might sound like fantasy, but there are countless reports of dreams predicting real events, down to the smallest, most specific detail. Some people experience floating outside their bodies while sleeping, watching themselves with surreal clarity. And more astonishing, many of these experiences have been verified, describing places and people the dreamer had never encountered. So the question shifts. It's no longer, why do we dream? Now it's, what are we touching while we dream? If you've ever asked yourself that, share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe dreams hide something greater? Or do you think it's all just imagination? Every night, when the body surrenders to sleep, the mind activates a silent, mysterious process, one we barely understand. It lets go. But lets go of what, exactly? While awake, we're bound by rigid rules, linear time, gravity, language, logic. Everything is measurable, predictable, controllable. But the moment we close our eyes, those rules disappear. You can live 20 years in 2 minutes. You can fly without wings, speak languages you've never learned, even die, and still wake up the next day. What is that? Science tries to explain. It talks about REM cycles, brain waves, memory processing, electrical patterns. And all of that is true, but it only tells us how, not why. Because even the most advanced studies can't answer. Why do we dream of places that don't exist but feel like home? Why do we feel deep love for people we've never met? Why do some dreams repeat as if they're chapters in the same story spanning years? These questions are unsettling because they hint at something we don't want to admit. Dreams are not simple. They're not random. They carry language, emotion, structure, and sometimes prophecy. How many times have you felt a dream was trying to tell you something? And more importantly, how often did you ignore it? Imagine, just for a moment, that dreams aren't created by the brain. They're tuned into, as if there's a signal, an invisible frequency, and every time we sleep, our consciousness connects to it, just like an antenna. The problem is, we live as if there's only one station, the waking world. But what if the mind can access other channels, other worlds, other versions of reality? Sounds absurd? Let's explore. In 2006, an Italian neuroscientist documented a case that baffled medicine. A patient with partial memory loss began dreaming of a vivid city called Valeria. He described its streets, plazas, a cafe that smelled like warm bread in the afternoon. But no such place existed on any map. And then, months later, during a spontaneous trip, the man recognized a small town in Croatia. He had never been there, but everything matched. The cafe, the smell, the plaza. The name was different, but the feeling was exactly the same. What happened? Repressed memory? Coincidence? Or subconscious access to a real place? Now consider this. If consciousness truly detaches during sleep, what's stopping it from visiting places beyond our physical reach? The short answer, nothing. Modern physics already suggests reality may contain dimensions we can't perceive. String theory, brain theory, multiverses, these are attempts to describe what we instinctively feel. This can't be all there is. And sleep may be our one chance to feel that truth. Because sleep is the only moment we're not trying to control reality. We're not judging, analyzing, explaining. We're just being. It's when the mind naturally enters altered states, something usually triggered by deep meditation, trauma, or psychedelic substances. Speaking of which, have you heard of DMT? Dimethyltryptamine, one of the most powerful compounds known. Found in various plants, and, interestingly, also produced in small amounts by the pineal gland in our brain. The same gland ancient cultures called the seat of the soul. Studies show that during REM sleep, the deepest sleep cycle, there's a spontaneous release of DMT, and what people experience under its influence is eerily similar to deep dreams. Living landscapes that respond to your presence, intelligent beings waiting in the shadows, and perhaps most disturbing, the overwhelming sense that it's not a hallucination, it's real. But what is real anyway? If a dream makes you cry, feel grief, love, fear, if it changes you, reveals something about who you are, how can that be fake? The truth is, we struggle to accept what dreams show us, because doing so would mean admitting we have no control over reality. And that scares us. But dreams keep coming, in the middle of the night, through the face of someone you've never met, but love, through the landscape you've never seen, but somehow mourn. And that's the real issue. Maybe dreams aren't here to entertain us, but to remind us of who we are, where we came from, and maybe where we're trying to return. There's a strange phenomenon that challenges everything we think we know about time and perception. The dream that feels like it lasted a lifetime. You close your eyes for just a few minutes, and inside your mind, You live years. You build relationships, learn skills, create memories so vivid that when you wake up, it feels like something real was lost. How is that possible? Science says that during REM sleep, our sense of time becomes distorted. The brain no longer follows the ticking of a clock, but instead the rhythm of experience. Time inside a dream bends to the weight of emotion, the pace of events, and the openness of the mind. But there's something deeper here. If we can feel a decade pass in mere minutes, if we can build entire inner worlds that feel real, then maybe what we call reality is just one layer of consciousness among many. And that leads us into one of the most avoided subjects in mainstream science: out-of-body experiences. Thousands of people report that in certain dreams, they're not inside themselves, they're floating, watching their sleeping bodies from above, detached from the physical, yet completely aware. And the most disturbing part, they remember impossible details. The exact position of their limbs, the faint glow of the nightlight, the sound of a car outside, things they shouldn't have noticed, yet did. Accounts like these appear across centuries, cultures, and spiritual traditions. In ancient Egypt, it was believed that the soul, the Ba, would leave the body during sleep to travel across unseen realms. Among Amazonian shamans, dreams are sacred maps for spiritual navigation, where the body sleeps, but the consciousness continues, free to explore other layers of existence. And many who've had these dreams claim they brought something back: a message, an insight, a change that carried over into waking life. This suggests something profound. Maybe the human mind is more than just brain activity. Maybe it's an antenna, and the brain is only the receiver. And during sleep, that receiver is more open, more sensitive, more tuned to frequencies we ignore while awake. Now, what about premonition dreams? People dream of events before they happen, accidents, encounters, even deaths. And some of those dreams unfold with chilling accuracy. Science explains this through unconscious pattern recognition. It says the brain picks up subtle clues, processes them at night, and predicts the future. But what about dreams that name people we've never met, describe places we've never seen, yet later visit, or show scenes so detailed and specific they can't be dismissed as chance? This opens up a deeper mystery about time. What if time isn't linear at all? What if past, present, and future exist simultaneously? And when logic shuts off during sleep, the mind begins to roam across those layers, like a fish slipping out of the tank. This would explain why some dreams jump outside of time, why they feel like glimpses of chapters not yet written. Now imagine this. What if during sleep, you're not only moving through time, but through different versions of you? The multiverse theory suggests that every possible choice creates a new reality. In one, you pursued a different career, married someone else, never existed, died young, lived an ordinary life or an extraordinary one. And what if dreams are cracks between those worlds? If consciousness is crossing into alternate realities, that would explain the familiar strangers, the cities with rules we've never learned but somehow understand, the memories that aren't ours but feel like they are. Many of the most vivid dreams carry that eerie feeling. This belongs to another life. And waking up from those dreams often brings an unshakable grief, the pain of leaving behind something unnameable, something that may have been real somewhere else. Science calls it residual dream emotion, but maybe it's just our name for something we can't measure. And here comes the most important question in this entire video. What if dreams are real and waking life is just the recurring illusion? If consciousness can move freely through time, space, and identity, then what we call self may just be a temporary reflection of something much larger, much older, and deeply connected to everything. Maybe the reason we forget our dreams is not a flaw in memory, it's survival. Because remembering every place we've visited, every life we've touched, every emotion we've lived, would be too much. The brain must filter, erase, protect, but sometimes something slips through. A dream that refuses to fade, a memory that was never yours, a persistent feeling that you are here but have been elsewhere. And that's the real enigma. It's not about decoding dreams. It's about accepting that maybe they're decoding us. But what if we haven't gone far enough? What if there are states of mind we haven't accessed, not awake, not asleep, but somewhere in between? There are stories of people getting trapped in that in-between state, unable to wake up, unable to fall asleep. And what they saw there wasn't a dream, wasn't a hallucination. It was something else. Imagine staying conscious during the transition between worlds, watching the curtain pull back, and having to face what lies on the other side. Maybe, instead of escaping during sleep, our minds are preparing us for something bigger. A next phase, a shift in frequency. Or maybe a memory we're not yet able to carry. And if that's true, the question is no longer what's real, it's, are we ready to remember? Watch the next video that's about to appear on your screen. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.